Picture this. You're sitting with friends, family, or colleagues. At first, the air feels light, maybe even cheerful. Someone laughs about the weather, another talks about the weekend plans. Then, slowly, like clouds darkening a bright sky, the conversation begins to twist. Someone shares a struggle. Maybe a tough boss, a broken relationship, a dream that fell apart. And like magnets drawn to metal, everyone joins in. Suddenly, it's a chorus of complaints, a symphony of sorrows, stories of betrayal, of missed opportunities, of fears whispered in the dead of night. Sound familiar? This scene unfolds everywhere, in homes, offices, coffee shops, and even on social media. A collective echo chamber of pain, replayed over and over until it becomes the very heartbeat of the gathering. At first, it feels comforting, like you're not alone in your struggles. But beneath the surface lies a silent trap, one so subtle, most people never even realize they're caught in it. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. The more we talk about our problems, the more power we hand over to them. Every retelling breathes life into them again, gives them weight, shape, and permanence. Our stories, instead of setting us free, become our cages. Think about it. When you constantly share what's going wrong, you begin to wear your pain like a name tag. Hi, I'm the one who was betrayed. I'm the one who failed. I'm the one who got hurt. And before long, you're not just living your story, you are the story. It defines you, limits you, traps you, and the tragedy? Most people don't even see it happening. They mistake storytelling for healing, when often it's the exact opposite. Talking without action turns pain into identity. It keeps you circling the same mountain, reliving the same heartbreak, rehearsing the same disappointments until they feel like destiny. But let's call it out for what it really is, a cycle of emotional addiction. Yes, addiction. Because pain, chaos, and drama, they demand attention. They make you feel alive, even as they drain the very life out of you. That constant retelling becomes like scratching a wound that never gets the chance to heal. You start seeking listeners not for solutions, but for validation, for sympathy, for the temporary relief of being understood, even as the root of the pain grows deeper and deeper. Here's the cost. The more you feed the story, the less energy you have for the solution. Every minute spent rehashing what went wrong is a minute stolen from what could go right. Every conversation about what broke you is time taken away from what could build you. And maybe you felt it. That heaviness after sharing your pain for the 100th time. That emptiness when the sympathy fades and you realize nothing has actually changed. Because here's the secret few understand. Your problems grow louder the more you talk about them. Not because they get worse, but because you give them center stage. And what takes center stage in your mind will eventually take control of your life. This is the trap of endless storytelling. It lulls you into thinking you're processing your pain when really you're feeding it. It convinces you you're connecting with others when in truth, you're chaining yourself to the very thing you want freedom from. The world is full of people rehearsing their tragedies but never rewriting their endings. Full of people narrating their heartbreaks but never choosing a different script. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to ask the question that changes everything. What if the story you keep telling is the very thing keeping you stuck? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The more you tell it, the more real it becomes. Not the event itself, that's in the past, but the hold it has on you. The way it shapes your identity, your beliefs, your future. And if you want a different future, you have to tell a different story, or maybe stop telling the old one altogether, because there's a power even greater than words. A power most people overlook. A power that doesn't shout, doesn't argue, doesn't perform. The power of silence. Silence. At first, it feels unnatural, uncomfortable, even weak. We live in a world that worships noise, constant updates, endless opinions, everyone shouting to be heard. So when you suddenly go quiet, people don't know what to do with it. Toxic people especially hate silence because they can't twist it, can't manipulate it, can't use it against you. But silence is where transformation begins. Because silence does not mean nothing is happening. Silence means you've stopped giving energy to what drains you. It means you've stopped rehearsing the pain and started reclaiming your power. Understand this. When you stop talking about your problems all the time, you're not pretending they don't exist. You're simply refusing to make them the center of your life anymore. You're shifting the focus, and where focus goes, energy flows. Keep staring at your wounds, and you'll keep bleeding. Start focusing on your healing, and you'll start growing. This is the secret most people miss. You don't heal by endlessly describing the darkness. You heal by walking toward the light. Silence creates space for that light to break through. Because when you stop narrating your pain, you can finally start listening to your heart, to your intuition, to the quiet wisdom inside you that drama always drowns out. You begin to see your problems for what they really are, not life sentences, but lessons, not dead ends, but detours, not curses, but catalysts. And here's where everything shifts. When you no longer waste energy feeding the story of your pain, you have energy to build the story of your purpose. You start moving differently, speaking differently, dreaming differently. Instead of saying, "Look what happened to me," you start saying, "Look what's possible for me." Instead of asking, "Why did this happen?" you start asking, "What can I create from this?" Do you feel the difference? One keeps you chained to the past. The other launches you into the future. Silence breaks the chain, because the moment you stop giving constant attention to the problem loses its power over you. It no longer defines you. It no longer drains you. It no longer dictates the direction of your life, and people will notice. Oh, they will notice. The ones who fed on your reactions, who thrived on your drama, who loved keeping you tangled in chaos, they will feel the shift first. They will call you distant, cold, different. But what they really mean is, we can't control you anymore, because your silence is louder than your explanations, louder than your defenses, louder than your justifications. It says, I'm done performing my pain for people who only want to watch, not help. It says, I'm no longer available for conversations that go nowhere. It says, I choose my peace over your approval, my future over my past, my growth over your gossip. And here's the beautiful thing. When you stop talking about everything that's wrong, you start noticing everything that's right. The blessings, the opportunities, the moments of grace and beauty that drama always blinded you to. You begin to live from possibility, not limitation, from purpose, not pain, because silence isn't empty. Silence is full of answers, full of power, full of the energy you need to build the life you were always meant to live. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop giving center stage to the story that broke you and start giving it to the vision that will remake you, because your future is waiting, and it's so much bigger than your past. There comes a moment when you get tired of repeating the same stories, tired of carrying the same wounds, tired of watching your own life play on a loop like a broken record. Maybe you felt it. The exhaustion that settles deep in your bones after one more conversation that leaves you empty instead of whole. That moment is not a sign of weakness. It's the first spark of awakening, because deep inside, a part of you knows, this is not all there is. You were not born to be defined by what happened to you. You were not created to spend your life reciting pain like a script written by someone else. There is more to you, so much more. But you can't see it clearly while staring at the rearview mirror of your own life. This is why the shift matters. The moment you stop obsessively narrating the past, you reclaim the energy to write the future. The moment you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, you free your voice for something greater. And here's the truth. No one tells you. Your story does not end where you were hurt. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the failure, those were chapters, yes. But chapters are not the whole book, and the pen has always been in your hands. The problem is most people live as if the story was carved in stone. They repeat what went wrong until it becomes prophecy. They wear the label of their worst moments like permanent tattoos: divorced, fired, betrayed, abandoned. But hear me when I say this. Those words are not your name. Those experiences are not your identity. You get to choose what defines you. Because pain might have marked you, but it doesn't have to mold you. It might have delayed you, but it doesn't have to destroy you. The shift begins when you decide, I will no longer give my pain the microphone. Instead, you hand it to your purpose. That purpose may not shout at first. It may come as a whisper, a subtle nudge in the quiet hours of the night. There is more for you than this. And when you hear it, really hear it, something begins to change. You start asking different questions. Not why me, but what now? Not who hurt me, but who do I want to become? Not what did I lose, but what can I create? That shift in focus is everything. Because where focus goes, life flows. Keep staring at the wound and you'll keep bleeding. Start focusing on the lesson and you'll begin to heal. This doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It means refusing to let it have the final word, because there is a version of you on the other side of this season. A version stronger, wiser, deeper than you've ever been. And that version of you cannot be born while you're still clinging to the story of what broke you. You have to release it. Not with rage, not with fanfare, but with quiet, steady courage, by saying, this chapter is over, but my book is not finished. And the moment you say that with your whole chest, with your whole spirit, you feel it. The power coming back to you. The power to dream again. The power to love again. The power to look at the ashes of what was and say, I will build again, because pain may have been the teacher, but it will not be the author. Not anymore. This is where transformation begins, not when the circumstances change, but when you change. When you decide to stop living like a victim of your own story and start living like the hero of it. And heroes don't stay stuck in the opening scene. They rise, they fight, they fall and get back up again and again, until the world sees what they were made for. That hero is in you. Has been all along. And now, finally, it's time for them to take the stage. Once you stop feeding the chaos, you begin to notice something strange, how quiet life becomes. At first, that quiet might feel uncomfortable. You were so used to the drama, the constant retelling, the endless commentary from people who had opinions about everything but solutions for nothing. But give it time, because soon you realize the quiet isn't empty. It's full of possibilities. When you stop wasting energy defending yourself, you have energy to discover yourself. When you stop explaining your worth to people who never valued it, you have energy to express it in ways you never imagined. And this is where the rebuilding begins, not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate choices. Choosing to start the morning with gratitude instead of complaints. Choosing to spend time with people who lift you rather than drain you. Choosing to work on dreams instead of rehashing disappointments. Choosing to speak life instead of spreading gossip. Because a new life is not built in a day. It is built daily, brick by brick, choice by choice, word by word. And as you make those choices, something remarkable begins to happen. The things that once consumed you no longer control you. The people who once shook you no longer shape you. The problems that once defined you no longer decide for you. Why? Because you've shifted the focus. Instead of staring at the storm, you're building the ark. Instead of replaying the fall, you're training for the climb. Instead of giving the pain the spotlight, you're handing it to your purpose. And slowly, steadily, the story changes. People will notice. Some will say you've changed, and they'll be right, because you'll laugh more, worry less, love deeper, speak softer, dream bigger. You'll stop explaining your boundaries. To people who benefited from crossing them, you'll stop performing for approval you never needed in the first place. You'll stop seeking closure from doors that were never meant to be opened again. Because when you start building a life beyond the noise, you no longer crave the crowd. You crave peace. You crave purpose. You crave the quiet confidence of knowing who you are and where you're headed. Even if no one claps for you along the way, and here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing applause, your life starts to inspire it. Not because you sought validation, but because you became a living, breathing testament to what happens when someone refuses to stay buried in the rubble of what tried to break them. You rise, and in rising, you show others it's possible. Possible to heal, possible to dream again, possible to rewrite the story even after the worst chapters. because you are no longer a narrator of pain. You are a builder of futures, and this is only the beginning.